What's up, everyone? Welcome to In Camp Podcast. This is the show where we talk all hunting, all fishing, and all the hard-earned lessons that keep us coming back season after season. I'm your host, Aaron Hepler, and today my guest is the guest of honor, my brother, Ben. This episode was so fun, and I know you're really going to like it. We talk so many fun, nostalgic type stories. We talk hard lessons from this year, from past years. We talk about what it means to be frustrated with your friends and to get down in the dirt. We talk about a lot of fun successes that we've had in the woods. My brother is an adventurer and a true outdoorsman, and you will learn a lot from him and about what it means to be an outdoorsman, what it means to have success and failure in the woods, what it means to build memories. This was my favorite episode of the year, and oddly enough, it is the last episode of the year because it is December the 30th. So happy New Year. Enjoy this episode. I know you're going to love it. This is In Camp Podcast. All right. Welcome back to the In Camp Podcast. This one is going to be a little bit different today, and I'm excited because it's his first appearance, and I don't know. It's about time. Yeah. He's probably my biggest fan. So I'm glad you all get to hear from him finally. My brother, Ben, aka Benjamin, aka Benjamin Hepler. What's up, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on, bro. And I appreciate, you having me and your wife on, even risking public outcry over nepotism and stuff and favoritism. So this really means a lot to me that you would risk all that for me. So touched.
Well, I've been excited. We were going to do this before you went on your out of state trip this year, and then we are like, well, maybe we should talk about that a little bit on a podcast. But then we're going to get to it. But yesterday we were telling so many stories, and we're both like, no, save them for tomorrow.
Right.
planning on doing this together.
Right.
So before we get started, do you remember anything that was like one of your first outdoor or hunting memory? Like, think back as far as you can and think about your favorite outdoor or hunting memory as we were kids or growing up or whatever it was.
So I don't know if you remember, but when I was really small, before the idea of actually going hunting for real with a real firearm was even a possibility, I was obsessed with like mountain men, right? Like the idea of like trappers and these tough dudes going out into the wilderness and trapping beaver and living off the land was so like appealing to me that I would set traps in the yard. Do you remember any of the traps that I sent?
Yeah, all the like pole ones and stuff.
Yeah, like the one, it was like a cage made out of sticks with like some of those chestnut casings on top of it. Yeah. With nuts inside of it. So the idea was the squirrel would go into this kind of fragile cage, knock it over, and then be impaled by these chestnuts. It didn't work, believe it or not. I think I had another one. It was literally like a foot noose laying on the ground with a carrot in the inside of the noose. And I remember checking it like one frosty winter morning, and the rabbit had come along and eaten the carrot and then chewed like the noose without even going into it. So none of them worked, but it was something I always enjoyed doing. It was an obsession of mine, and I guess it worked out for later, maybe.
You definitely got your trap ideas from John Wayne and the Green Beret, I think.
Yeah, potentially. Just, not humans that I was targeting, obviously.
So if someone today were to meet you and I, what do you think you would tell them about how you and I grew up outdoors?
Oh, man. I would, to say that it was always like a part of our identity would probably be an understatement. I mean, we grew up, we were fortunate enough to have a large yard, right? A lot of woods. We were always outside. We were always playing in creeks, damming up creeks, building forts, playing in the woods. Once we like came of age, we were always hunting and fishing. So like for sure, it was just a huge part of our identity. So you really can't. There are no Hepler brothers without the outdoors.
It is so true. We tore up the town when we were kids. damming up the creeks and running. Do
Yeah.
you remember there was that little section of woods down the street that we would play on the right-hand side and dam that one creek? And
Yeah.
then we figured out that there were deer going through that one part. And there
Mm-hmm.
was that tree branch that it went over that middle of that valley, and you climbed up on top of that tree branch, and the neighbor lady got ticked at you for,
Oh,
you
of
remember that?
course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how we survived. It's a miracle, but here we are.
I know. We would climb up vines and stuff to get in trees and be 30 feet up in a tree.
Right.
There's so many good memories, but one thing I remember we were talking about yesterday was you started hunting a little bit later than the average PA hunter because you went
Right.
through a little phase that was different.
Right.
We hunted birds with BB guns a lot, legal birds,
Right.
starlings and what house sparrows maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you shot a starling or something and it really bothered you for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to, if we could get into that, I'd love to talk about that because
Well, let's talk
I,
about it.
yeah, absolutely. So I, I meet a lot of people at work, outside of work, et cetera. And I talk to them and like one thing I've noticed is that if you are a hunter in Pennsylvania and you meet a stranger who is also a hunter, all the bridges are built. Like you can talk to that person for hours and hours and
Mhm.
hours. There's so much that we have in common as like fellow hunters. So it often comes up like with strangers and stuff like, oh, do you hunt? And a lot of times I hear like, it's something I'd love to get into. Like I love the idea of getting my own meat, and I love the idea of spending time in the outdoors and the chase. I just don't think like I could kill an animal. Um, and like that describes me in a nutshell because like when I was 12 years old, which at that time was like when you were legally allowed to hunt in Pennsylvania, um, I was not ready to take that step. I just couldn't see myself killing an animal. I really struggled with that. And that honestly is something that has not changed. And I've got over 20 deer under my belt at this point. Um, the killing part is something that I don't enjoy per se, and it's something that I struggle with. But like I love every other aspect of hunting. I love being outside. Like I love processing my own meat. I love filling the freezer. So for me, it's something that I had to wrestle with and come to terms with. Like, even if this is something that I'm always gonna like struggle a bit with, the overwhelming like positives of hunting completely outweigh that difficulty that I have. So, like for anybody listening, like if you are somebody who is interested in hunting, would like to do it, but feel that killing part is something that you can't get over, because let's be honest, like when hunting goes really well, something dies, right?
Mhm.
If that's something that you feel that you can't get over, well, maybe still give it a shot. Like there's still a place for you at the table. And for me, like that, I'll use the word compassion for lack of a better word, that I have that difficulty with killing things. I think it's something that I've been able to use to make me a better hunter, right?
Yeah.
To make me practice a little bit more, to make me pick my shot so that I'm making sure that I pick an ethical shot where the animal is going to die as quickly as possible. So, um, yeah, I don't really see it as a negative anymore. Like I see it as something that's helped me make me a better hunter, and I still love doing it.
Well, that's really good insight because people always ask me like, well, does your brother hunt too? And, if they ask about how we got into it or whatever, it's something I always say like, at first he wasn't sure because people think you don't go into hunting to be a serial killer.
Yeah, of
Nobody
course.
wants, no, like, I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to kill.
Right.
Killing is part of hunting because it's the final piece to get that animal home and
Right.
process the animal and do the other parts. But
Right.
it's not like I'm theorizing about, you know, like I'm not like excited to disembowel a deer or
Yeah.
something like that. Like you're just excited for the chase, you're excited for the hunt. But then it also raises other really good questions about people debating about when to get their kids started in hunting anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we in PA now you can hunt, you could be like 5 years old and out hunting, and I think that's super valuable because when we were kids we talked about how we grew up we were playing in creeks and in the woods
Yeah.
and pretending to hunt with noisemaker machine guns and, like
Right.
all that stuff. But that's not, it's a thing still, but kids there's so much noise in the world around them. I mean, if you're a parent and you're seeing that your kid is developing to a point where they would be okay dealing with that stuff,
Yeah.
earlier can be better. Maybe later is better. It just
Totally.
depends on where your kid is going to get that interest at.
Totally. Yeah. I think it is definitely a case by case basis. Some kids are
Yeah.
just ready before others. For me, like, I don't think actually started hunting until I was 16.
Oh, was it
I,
16? I thought you were 14.
um, it was around there for sure. Yeah. I remember, and I needed a little, extra coaching, right? Because
Yeah.
pulling that trigger was difficult for me. So I had, to have somebody sitting next to me, telling me to shoot right in my ear. Do you remember
Well,
that?
yeah, I do. And that was one story I wanted to say, let's not go over all the details, but one thing I had the privilege of was taking you out and you killing your first deer with me. And that was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
And did I have a bow? I don't remember.
No, it was like the youth. There was like the youth rifle hunt in Pennsylvania. I think it was like was a 1 day thing or a 1 week thing.
Yeah. The
During
weekend. Yeah.
like, yeah, during the early season, the leaves were still on the trees. It was still green. There was a pretty warm day, I remember, and yeah, we went out and got it done. And
Well,
yeah,
I was like scheduled to work that day, but I'm like, I can hunt until like 10,
right,
I'm like,
right,
we're gonna go get one.
right.
Tell people what that morning was like for you.
It was special because, like, yeah, A, having you with me was awesome. B, I did still have that, like, that hesitation in my head of like, oh
Mhm.
man, like, can I do this? Can I kill a deer? And I remember this group of deer. I don't think I even expected to see anything. And this group of does came trucking across this valley, and they were headed our way. And I remember them getting closer and closer. I had a dad's 308 bolt action rifle, the scope.
His African gun.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the scope right on him. I had multiple chances to pull that trigger, and I was hesitating, and I could just hear you in my ear going, "Shoot, Ben, shoot, shoot." And I pulled the trigger, and it was like, the type of kill that every hunter wants. It literally ran, 20 yards and fell over dead. And
Maybe.
oh, yeah. And I was
Rolled all
just,
the way down the hill.
yeah, dude, I felt like I had killed like a 12-point buck. Like, I remember just like, you know, rap music playing in my head as I was walking out of the woods, like Eminem hype music. Just I was so stoked, and yeah, it was a great feeling. Um,
I remember being so worried that the deer was gonna hit the end of your gun barrel before you pulled the trigger.
it was probably close. I remember it being very large in the scope. That's for sure. Yeah,
Those are the moments we live for too, because we were even talking about stuff from when we were kids. And
right.
I remember our grandfather with this one thing we were talking about. I remember our grandfather, we used to love to go fishing in his little ponds wherever we
Mm,
could.
right,
And he took us out fishing and he took a container of worms and gave us a container of worms.
right.
And I think we each I know we caught over 100 bluegills that day out of that little pond.
Yeah, we cleaned them up.
But I remember we were like using pieces of grass after because we ran out of worms.
Yeah,
We have little pictures of us like, standing outside his house in our bare feet with these big stringers full of bluegills and
right.
all the stuff we got to do, like have the fish fries and everything we've done growing up has been like everything. Our vacations, everything has been related to being outside. And whether it's,
Totally.
you wanting to be Steve Irwin and catching hognose snakes and
Mm,
all that kind of stuff. But um, those things do stand out to me so much. Those little moments that we got to spend together, like that first year was really special for me too, because I got to see my brother do it and,
yeah,
and, and grow up from understanding the things that you just talked about not enjoying the killing part, but enjoying the process and loving something that can really last. And you can make these memories with people that you love and enjoy just being kind of wholesome, like
Yeah.
eating deer. Like if we have deer in the freezer, we don't buy beef. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. No, I
All
think
that kind of stuff.
I think wholesome is a great way to put it. Like there's nothing like just like being able to supply the food that's on your table, to see that process from going out into the woods and processing it, putting it on the table. Like it is, oh, I think it's something that we're definitely like wired to do as humans. It's something that comes very natural, and there's something really special about it. And like, uh, I wouldn't call myself like a trophy hunter per se, right? Like I've been fortunate enough to kill a couple decent bucks, but like the antlers are always a bonus for me. The
Hmm.
goal is always, let's fill the freezer. Um, the trophy for me is like the shot that I made and how ethically and how cleanly that animal was killed. And then B, like it's the stories that go along with it too. Like having, I was thinking yesterday about like why it's cool to have like a rack on your wall. And somebody I was talking to who isn't a hunter had asked about like, oh, do you have like do you like mount the deer like or do anything with the rack? I'm like, yeah, I do. And it's cool because every time I look at that rack, and I'm looking at one now, like there's a story that just pops into my head, and I can like see all those moments again. And it's like I'm back there. Like yeah, you can't beat it.
I actually talked to I talked to Nathan Endicott about this and mentioned, do you ever the one nice thing about having a rack on your wall is you can remember if you go to a spot where you killed a doe and
Mm,
you remember that hunt, you can remember what happened.
right.
But the buck, you can look at the rack and
Yeah.
then just be like, and just like close your eyes a little bit and remember like what it looked like when it was coming in and
Right.
what it looked like when you shot that thing and then how pumped you were, like
Right.
what'd you do afterwards, like, and you don't want to lose that. So every year,
Yeah.
especially when you're sitting in that spot, you kind of just like look over to where that deer was
Yeah.
standing and
Right.
right, and you don't want
Yeah.
to lose those thoughts, so you just keep rethinking of them over and over.
Yeah, it's like having a little movie play in your head, all the highlights.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Do
and
you
that,
I
like,
think
you had brought up really quick, like,
Yeah, go
since
ahead.
we were talking about, like, the difficulty some people have with the killing part, and, like, I know there's a lot of, kinda stigma about, like, the celebratory aspect, right? Like, when you kill an animal and you go up to it and you're, like, totally hyped, and there's a part of me that, like, I wanna have in my head to, like, go up and be and totally respectful, which I feel like, I do to some extent, but also, like, I don't think there's anything disrespectful about being like excited, like when you get up to that animal and it's dead, like that. So much work goes into it, like so
Mhm.
much. Even like when everything goes well, there's still going to be a lot of suffering that goes into uh hunting, right? And you're sitting out in the cold and you're waiting, and like everything has to come together. The stars align. So like when you see hunters go out on these outdoor hunting programs and they're like stoked and they're giving each other high fives and stuff, that I don't think that's disrespectful to the animal. Like that's
No.
just the culmination of a lot of hard work. Uh, so yeah, I don't personally see an issue with that.
I mean, I don't go as far as, like, putting grass on the animal's mouth or
No,
anything,
no,
but
no, no,
I'll give
no.
him a little pat and say thank you, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I do
And
too, for
and
sure.
I take a moment to pray and thank God too,
Yeah,
because, like that as much as work as you put into it, just the blessing of everything around the hunt, like,
totally.
"Thank you for letting me do something hard.
Yeah,
Thank you for giving me the strength to drag this deer out because I know it's coming."
totally.
Uh and all that aspect of it is like, I am so grateful and thankful in that part, and you should celebrate.
Yeah,
And if you need to take a moment to be like reverent and whatever, that's fine too.
yeah,
Like, just when somebody else is all jacked up, there's no reason to be like, you shouldn't do that, you know?
totally, totally. Each
Because
each
again, you're
person
not
approaches it differently.
right. And again, you're not celebrating killing, you're celebrating the hunt
Exactly.
and the success in the hunt.
Right.
How do you think that shapes you and I as a hunter, whether it's from fishing and hunting, how do you think that shaped how you and I have grown up to become what we are today? And why don't you
One.
in this intertwine what you do for a living and how you make a living?
Hmm. So Well, first of all, I'm an environmental scientist, so I do a lot of work with like threatened and endangered species and streams and wetlands, which is cool because I I just can't get enough of being outside. So it's cool to be able to apply that to my day job. Um, but yeah, I think like growing up in an outdoor mindset and outdoor setting, like obviously directly applicable to my job because I'm outside all the time. So just being able
Yeah.
to face the elements,
Yeah.
um, knowing about plants and animals, obviously very helpful for me. For other people, though, I think there are skills that you learn in the woods, by a lake, by a stream, in the tree stand that are so like relevant to other situations.
Mm.
Part of it is patience, right? Like patience if you're sitting in a stand, patience if you are wet wading along a creek. The discomfort that goes into that. Like we do a lot of difficult things in our day jobs. Like no job is perfect. You're going to have to do things that you don't like in order to achieve that outcome of success in your workplace. You know, you're a nurse. I know that you put up with a lot of a lot of difficult stuff, right? So just
Hmm.
being able to like put your head down and get through a difficult situation um, is something that is in every hunt, every fishing experience that you do, you're going to deal with some of that. And I think that patience, that ability to deal with difficult situations, uncomfortable situations, is so valuable to developing like that hard work ethic.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much, and there's also other aspects of it too, just character building and integrity. Because
Yeah.
we have I know Dad's going to listen to this, but our dad might as well be a game warden, and we grew up like
Yeah.
you don't you don't do that thing that you're not supposed to do, and
Right.
if you do it, you're turning yourself in. You know
Right.
what I mean? And we've respected that.
Right.
Like
Yeah. My first, the first turkey I ever got was
yeah,
a youth it was the youth turkey hunt. Dad was sitting next to me and everything went perfectly, right? We called, two gobblers came in. I lined up and shot and jumped up in excitement. When I jumped up, there were two turkeys laying on the ground. I guess I hit them both, which in this case was not a good thing. And Dad had me take him to the game commission. I had to like write an incident report and stuff, and that's yeah, it was it didn't end up being the end to the hunt that I would have wanted, but it also taught me a lot about like, hey, your number one responsibility as a hunter is to abide by the rules, right? The safety rules, especially, and the rules that are instated by the regulatory agency that you're under. Your second responsibility is to uh, give the animal a quick and clean death. So yeah,
hmm
just like that is something that we kind of make fun of him a lot for, but it's something that I have definitely taken into my own personal hunting experiences, and it's something that's really valuable.
I say it a lot, but not following the rules kind of just ruins the hunt for me.
Yeah,
You know what I
totally.
mean? Because if you would have not turned that turkey in when you were a kid, it would still be eating you up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
a
it
hundred
it wouldn't
percent.
be it wouldn't be as valuable as a hunt. You wouldn't really
Right,
be able to talk about the turkey or enjoy the memory of that hunt because it
right,
was, I mean, you killed both those turkeys ethically. It's not like one of them, you know what I mean? Like,
right, right.
and um, so it's something that like if I do even something remotely wrong during a hunt,
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about it. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I don't enjoy that hunt
right.
the same way that I do a hunt where I did everything right.
Totally. Yeah, I
Um,
wish I could dig up that picture of me holding those turkeys like as this six. I have this like just devastated look on my face, like full camo. You know that like old camo jumpsuit that I used to wear that had spray you
yeah,
like spray painted it to make
it
it a
had
little bit
yellow on it and stuff.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm wearing that like my floppy fedora hat with just like on the verge of tears, holding these two turkeys. Yeah.
Uh, how do you think you and mom and dad always used to describe us as A and B, black and white, thunder and lightning.
Mm.
How do you think you and I differ as outdoorsmen?
Oh my gosh. You and I have different styles. Let's put it that way. All right. Oh man, I don't mean to be like tooting
I
your horn.
mean, I'm just gonna pause. Like, you are studious. Look at the background in your wall and look at the background in mine. Like,
That's right.
there's no books behind me.
True, true. All right. I'll admit, like, if there's a long sit and I'm gonna be out there all day, I will pull out a book. I'm not above that. I've gotten better at it this year. I really couldn't even bring myself to read because I was so like amped up to be out there. But there have been many years where it's like a 45-degree day. It's sunny. It's that like 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock hour. I'm not seeing any deer. And my opinion is like, do whatever you can to keep your butt in the stand. So yeah, I'll pull out a book. And I do have like a protocol, right? So if I'm reading and it's quiet enough that I can like use my ears to listen, I hear a deer coming, I sit in my book, right? Minimum movement. I'm not putting that thing back my back. I just sit on it, get ready. And I've gotten a couple deer that way. So actually, sometimes the deer even show up as soon as I start reading. So like, I'm not superstitious, but I think it might actually help.
They see the white.
But yeah, I mean, as far as different styles, like, um, oh man, it's killing me to say this to my own brother, but you're one of the best, right? Like everybody knows it. Like you put a lot of time in the woods. You're good at scouting, you're good at reading sign, you're good at finding out where the deer are, and then like beyond any of that, you're good at executing a good hunt, right? You're an excellent shot. You know when to take shots, and that's contributed to a lot of your success. Like my hunting strategies are obviously like the lower tier of that. I don't do a lot of scouting because I sit in virtually the same couple stands every year. I think I do a good job of putting time in the woods when I have that time to put in. Like I will sit out a lot in rifle. I'm gearing up for the flintlock season here in Pennsylvania, so I'm excited to get out
Mm.
and do that. And I'm going to put a lot of time into it. Um, but I definitely tend to be a little bit more like hesitant. I pick my shots for sure, and that goes back to like just my desire to want to make a clean shot. And, so I definitely pick my shots, and I've probably missed some opportunities because of that. Um, but yeah, like not everybody has to have the same style when they're out there. Like
No,
there are the go getters like you, and there are the readers like me.
well, I mean, it's your hunt. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's your tag. It's the way you want to hunt. But you kind of like sell yourself a little bit short because you're just as much as an adventurer. I just do a lot locally.
Yeah.
Like you were in the Amazon this year fishing for catfish. How many people got to do that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have hiked Mount Rainier and you've done all this like cool stuff. It's just a different aspect of how you see the outdoors. Why don't
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about the Amazon? What is it like to adventure like that?
Oh my gosh. Oh,
We should shout out to your wife too, because she planned every little piece of this trip.
yeah,
So
yeah. So we did a trip to Peru this summer, and it was a trip. It was like planes, trains, and automobiles. It was a lot
yeah,
of logistics that went into it. And I tell everybody like if she would have fallen off a cliff during that trip, I wouldn't have known where I was sleeping that night. Like I did not do a lot of background research. But yeah, it was an amazing trip. We did like a big backpacking trip through the Andes that ended at Machu Picchu. Just the sights we saw along the way. I mean, you're going from over 15,000 feet, and then 4 miles later, you're in like a rainforest. It was just amazing. And then we got to go to the Amazon rainforest for 4 days. Like the Amazon has always been the top of my bucket list, and it did not disappoint. If you ever seen the movie like Waterworld with Kevin Costner, like that is like the Amazon River. Like everybody, the school buses are boats. Picking up these kids at the little villages. There's just wildlife everywhere. I mean, we saw like pink and gray river dolphins, sloths, monkeys. We saw the fer-de-lance viper, which is the deadliest snake in South America. It was it for somebody who loves animals, who loves the outdoors and nature, and is trained as a biologist. It was like heaven for me. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But we did, as you said, we did get to fish for catfish, which one thing that was kind of reassuring,
And piranhas.
and piranhas too. Yeah. But one thing that
Yeah.
was reassuring for me is like I love fishing for catfish in Pennsylvania. And it's done the same way in the Amazon, believe it or not. Like catfishing is just as easy in Pennsylvania as it is in the Amazon.
Nice.
If you can put a slip weight on a rig and put a piece of cut bait on it, you're gonna do well. But yeah, we caught all kinds of cool catfish, duck-billed catfish, migratory catfish. Um, we did fish for piranha as well, which was cool. You have like these short, uh, basically sticks with a piece of line attached to the end of them. You know,
Hmm.
kind of like the ones that you and I learned how to fish with growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Little
Um,
maple switches.
right, exactly. And so you put a piece of cut bait on the end of it, and then you get your rod and you swish it around in the water like really furiously, and you do that. I guess to imitate like an animal drowning or whatever, and that brings the piranha in, and then you kind of just you feel that little tug and pull them in, and yeah, they were delicious too. Oh, they're so
Yeah.
good. That catfish, like I'll be thinking about that for the rest of my life. It was
Yeah.
so good, so fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
short lunch you wouldn't want to miss.
no, no, it was awesome. So
So um, you've always done this adventure thing, and you actually went on, um, you studied abroad in New Zealand.
yeah, yeah,
And I remember, I don't remember if I was a brand new nurse or if I was just in nursing school, but I was so excited for you to be hunting in New Zealand that I
right,
was like, I will ship whatever skull
right,
mount, like you want a shoulder, but whatever you shoot, I will have it shipped and mount it for you. Like,
right.
and why don't you tell the story about when you were hunting for chamois?
Oh my gosh. This one still hurts. So we weren't actually hunting for chamois. We were hunting for red stag,
Mm,
which if you don't know anything about New Zealand, like New Zealand is a sportsman's paradise. Like almost every mammal there on the islands are invasive. So, you know, they're all an option for hunting. I think there's maybe like a couple species of bats that are native. So there's all these like megafauna like red stag, chamois, black tar. I think there might have even been some locations where they have elk. And you have like these awesome snow-capped mountains. Um, just like a really cool, almost Western feel to the hunts over there. So I met a local who was nice enough to take me out for a red stag hunt. We got there like super early in the morning. We just started like climbing this mountain. And I remember like hearing a red stag roar, which was so cool. I mean,
oh, neat.
you know, being an elk
Yeah.
hunter, like you've heard something similar, but it was like, I felt like we were hunting like a mythical creature, something like a
That's some
centaur. It
serious
was
Jurassic Park. Yeah.
dude, it was scary and it's pitch black. So we get to this vantage point where we can see some red stag in the distance. Like I think he took a shot. He had the first shot. He took one. I believe he missed, and then there was a kid with us who shot as well. And we weren't sure if he had hit it or not. So we decided we were going to go check it out. And this is hundreds of yards away, like a hike through a couple valleys. And as we're going to like look for his red stag, the guy I'm with is like, "Oh man, like there's a chamois." A chamois, I think they're related. They're from Europe originally. They're like a
Yeah.
kind of an alpine species. They're generally like located at higher altitudes, and this one was like in fairly low land. So
Yeah.
it was unusual to see, but like it was my turn to shoot. He gave me the rifle. It was a 30 six, and I like trucked up this hill to get a better a vantage point to get a shot at this chamois, and I put it on a fence. And like as soon as I lined it up, I knew like, Ben, you have like no business pulling this trigger because I was breathing so heavily. Like I was so nervous.
It was a pretty far shot too, right?
It was well, that'll come into it. I think it was like 150 yards.
Okay.
So I mean, I just remember the sights like going up and down over this, and like God forgive me, I pulled that trigger, it just totally missed. It took off. And I look over at the guy that brought me, and he's just like shakes his head, and he's like, "Well, that's the easiest shot you're gonna get in New Zealand." Like,
He
yeah,
was a pastor, right?
he was the pastor of the church I went to there, just like a total boss. Like, we ended up finding the red stag that the kid shot, and
Oh, cool.
we quartered it up on the spot. The guy skinned and quartered that thing in like under 30 minutes. It was unbelievable. And we
Yeah.
had that thing in backpacks and hiked out, which was really, really cool. It was an experience, but oh, that chamois still hurts me to this day.
And you actually got to hunt behind dogs there too, right? For pigs?
Yeah, for pigs. Yeah. Yeah. That was an experience. I've like, you alluded to the fact that I love to hike and stuff. So I'm in like fairly decent shape, but I was like bedridden for 2 days after that. It was literally just like running up and
In a
down
hunt on a
hills.
beach. Oh, rough.
Oh yeah, right, right. But yeah, it was the place that the program I was in. That was the gardener. He was really into pig hunting and had a couple awesome dogs, and took me way back into the bush, and we got to kill a couple pigs. That was something else. Yeah.
Well, what do you think what's the cultural difference with that type of hunt? Because it's a little brutal.
It, it it is. It's like more. I would say it's more like the Western style hunting. You're doing a lot of like glassing. Um, as far as like a cultural difference, I think hunters over there have the same mindset. Like there is still
Uh-huh.
like that um desire to like go out and get meat, and a lot of locals over there like eat what they kill, eat what they
Yeah.
catch.
Yeah.
Especially like in the coastal areas where you can go from like spear fishing and lobster fishing, and then throw a rifle on your back and you're hunting red stags like not far from it. There's definitely like that was one of the things that struck me. Like, wow, I guess hunting and fishing is kind of a universal thing. Like, hunters in those foreign countries, they have that same desire that we do, and they have that same ethic and stuff.
Yeah. Uh, what were the type of dogs that you were hunting behind there?
Uh,
Like
I
the
don't know
mountain
the
cur, was it one of them?
Yeah, some sort of cur. I don't know the exact breed. They were awesome dogs, and I mean, the way that that guy could control them with a whistle and a command was amazing. And I think, unfortunately, one of the dogs that we went out with actually got killed a couple months later by a big boar,
Yeah.
which is a total bummer. But it happens there, just like it does for the guys down south that use dogs.
Yeah. So this year you went on one of your first like United States out of states hunting trips.
Yeah.
How do you think that went for you? Tell everybody what it was you were hunting for, where you went, and then we'll get into how it went for you.
Okay. Cool. So, among big game hunting, I love small game hunting. I love pheasant hunting as well. So I have like,
That was probably one of the big things with us growing up though,
yeah.
right?
Oh
Like
yeah, we
deer
did a lot
was
of,
big thing, but the
yeah.
small stuff was where it was at.
Yeah, we had a beagle, so we'd go out rabbit hunting. Our grandpa loved to rabbit hunt. Our dad loved to rabbit hunt and small game hunt, so we did a lot of that. Um, so yeah, having a dog now, I have like a mutt, and I trained her to pheasant hunt, and I absolutely just love getting out with her. So this year, me and several other friends did a trip to North Dakota, which, if you know anything about pheasant hunting, North and South Dakota are kind of legendary for their pheasant populations. And
Yeah.
not only that, just the type of terrain that you're hunting. So, yeah, we did a road trip out there. It was quite a drive. It was like, I think 25 hours of driving with five dudes and a couple dogs in the van. We stayed like right on the Badlands, which was awesome. I've always been like a huge Teddy Roosevelt fan, as you know. Like, yeah, he's a big hero of mine. So we were actually like in the area that he kind of cut his teeth, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not to get into it too much, but like Teddy Roosevelt, his wife and mother actually died the same night. Um,
Uh-huh.
his wife died giving birth to their daughter, and his mother died from a serious illness. So he kind of like went out to the Badlands to heal. Like he started a cattle ranch, he hunted out there. And the first thing that struck me, like when I got out there, was like, wow, this is the kind of place that you would go to if you were like in that situation of like mourning and healing. I mean, it is so like stark out there and so beautiful. Just the wild like landscapes, just like all of these kind of undulating hills and like sweeping fields. Like it was so cool hunting out there. Um, the pheasant hunting was great too. It took us like a few days to kind of figure it out. Like Pennsylvania, I think has good pheasant hunting, but they're all stock birds. There's only so many areas that you can hunt anyway, so
Sure.
you kind of go to those fields and you hope for the best. Um, this place, like we really had to figure out like what kind of terrain the pheasants like. We talked to locals, we talked to guys who had been out there before. So it took us a few days to really figure it out. But when we like finally got to that field where we flushed like I say around 30 birds. I mean, it could have been less. It could have been a little bit.
How'd you find that field?
Oh man.
Oh.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to get all the credit for it. So if any of the guys are listening that went along the trip with me, I'm not trying to steal all the credit, but hey, I deserve some. I actually took a day off from hunting to tour the Badlands and do some hiking. And I saw these like three old guys that were in orange. So I'm like, all right, like here we go, trying to get some intel. So I walked up to them and I started talking to them. They were super nice. Told them that I was from out of state hunting, asked if they had any idea of, if they could just point me in the right direction of where these good pheasant areas are. And they're really open about it. They didn't give me specific fields, but they said, oh yeah, like here's a map, like go in this general area. And yeah, once we got to that area and we hadn't seen hunters like really all week in the areas that we were hunting in. We got to that area, we were all automatically seeing hunters hunting there. We're like, okay, like this makes sense. And then that first field, it was just like it was what we came to North Dakota to see. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just birds absolutely everywhere. It was so cool.
So what is something that you would do if you were going to hunt there out of state for pheasants again? What is something you would do to prep to try to have that type of hunt early on?
Mm.
And then also, well, answer that question first. We'll get into other stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a good. I I don't know if I don't know, maybe like doing a little more research online. Like we did it. We did a lot of research beforehand. And it's not that the areas that we were hunting in were bad. Like we were still putting up birds in every field that we went into.
Yeah.
Um,
Just not big numbers.
yeah, not the numbers that we wanted to see. So yeah, I think like what we did talking to people who had done it before was really helpful. But maybe coming up with a game plan. Like we ended up staying, our Airbnb was fairly far from where that good area was. Which definitely like cut into the hunting time. So maybe like once we had determined, all right, like this is the area that we're going to focus on, like kind of picking a place that was a little closer to that would have given us a little more hunting time. But like all that to say, like our Airbnb was right on the Badlands. Like for me, the trip was about killing birds, but that was a bonus for me. Like I wanted to have that out of state experience to really get to know the area that we were in, and like being able to stay right in the Badlands was just as cool as killing a lot of birds, in my opinion. So
Well,
yeah, and I
no,
think
keep
like
going.
oh sorry, um, the gentleman that you had on a couple episodes ago who talked about upland hunting. I'm sorry, I forget his name.
Travis Frank.
Yeah. That was a great episode. But one of the things that he talked about was like when you're doing those out of state hunts, it's pretty typical to have a few days to figure it out, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I think that's just par for the course. And maybe to address that, just give yourself an extra 2 days on a hunt,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's true.
just kind of
I mean,
understand that a couple days are going to be just dedicated towards like research and figuring things out.
yeah, absolutely. And even if it's like spending time behind the wheel and driving around and seeing what
Mhm.
the different habitat types are, or are
Right.
you seeing birds coming from feed to roost or whatever it
Right.
is, that kind of thing is always really helpful in the beginning of a hunt. And of course, everybody who goes out of state wants to immediately get their weapon out of the car and just
Yeah.
get at it,
Yeah.
which might be good in the right scenario, but most of the time if let's say you're on a 5-day pheasant hunt and you
Right.
take that first like day and a half to just
Yeah.
check things out and maybe even try to go to some gas stations where you can find those local hunters eating at a diner or
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be and get some intel.
Yeah.
Well, if you spend a day and a half doing that, even if you only hunt for an hour one of those days, you might have for 4 days epic hunts that you won't get if you don't do that.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's funny that you bring up like driving around and looking for birds. Like that is 100% valid way to scout out there because
Yeah.
pheasants will come out onto a lot of the roads out there are gravel and they'll come up out
Yeah.
to pick up the
Do the
grit.
picking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to see them. And, you can using resources like Onyx and stuff, you can determine where the public land is. If you see a lot of birds in that area, like, hey, park the van and hop out and go get them.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is understanding what those states are doing to survey birds. North and South Dakota both do like roadside bird counts to
Yeah.
estimate populations. So
Yeah.
like PA, everywhere does like the grouse drumming to see what the grouse counts are in different
Right.
areas. And you can find that out from maybe Pheasants Forever, like your local chapter or your grouse society chapters and things like that. You can find
Right.
information like that.
Right. And one thing too, which is something that I I take it upon myself, I should have done this, is just like identification, right? So the Hungarian partridges were in the area that we hunted. And the
Yeah.
first covey that we put up, like none of us had any idea what they were. We're like, what are those? Like, I think were those Hungarian partridges? Like, I don't know. If we would have watched a couple more YouTube videos, did a little bit more research, we could have got a few more shots on those. So that would have been cool. So, and then also, in Pennsylvania, at least a lot of the areas you and I hunt, you can shoot both hens and roosters. Where we were out there, it was rooster only. So you got to definitely like brush up on your identification, being able to ID it quick off the wing.
Yeah, that's kind of like something newish to Pennsylvania, like
Yeah.
not new, but maybe the last 6 years, maybe, I don't know, something like that, 5, 6 years.
Mm.
We're allowed to shoot pheasants here because we just haven't been able to sustain a population of wild birds, whether it's too many predators or like hunting pressure in the areas that we have is really high for pheasants, whether it's people coming from New York or New Jersey or whatever it is.
Right.
It's a lot of birds that have just too much pressure to sustain that population.
Yeah, no doubt.
What about hunting out of state? So one nice thing about hunting birds out of state is anytime you're in the car driving, you are actively able to look at the habitat and scouting.
Right.
And if you were out there deer hunting, you might, or whatever, like mule deer, whitetails, if you're out west hunting antelope, you're spending most of your day behind glass, behind a gun,
Mm.
whatever it is, and you don't really want to leave that scenario. One thing that's really cool about hunting birds is the tag is not outrageous.
Right.
You might be able to get a 3-day discounted tag or a 7-day discounted tag, or even like if you get their general hunting license, it's not quite as much because you're hunting birds.
Right.
Or you might be able to get a specific upland license depending on where you're going.
Right.
So you have all this opportunity to spend time doing other things. Like if
Right.
you're deer hunting, you're spending all your time deer hunting. That's a different level. You need to understand the sign, you need to understand the deer. And then when you start finding them, you can't get off that train. You need to keep going until you either come home with an empty tag or you are successful.
Yeah, 100%. And my wife, like, when she found out that I was going to be doing an out of state pheasant hunt, she was like, why, if you're going to do an out of state hunt, why would you go for something as small as pheasants? Like, why wouldn't you go for elk or something? I'm like, the pheasant's exactly the type of hunt I want to do out of state for my first one, because I really want to like see the area. I want to hunt in a cool place. Pheasant hunting, you're doing so much walking. It's like sightseeing with a gun, right? Like we're just in these big, like sweeping plains, and there's buttes that you're looking at, and we're seeing like pronghorn antelope and mule deer. And it wasn't about filling the freezer, believe me. It was, and
Well,
like you said,
yeah,
it was really affordable too, like, which was awesome.
right. And that's the cool thing about upland hunting is it's all really adventure. I mean, you can come home with some meat, or you can have some really fun um, campfire or outdoor cooking going on at
Right.
camp and stuff. But it's really about the camp vibe
Right.
when you're talking upland hunting. You're not going there to put pheasants in your freezer for the next year. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you may come home and have 2 or 3 really good meals that you can have fun
Yeah.
making. But the other cool thing about bird hunting is, like you said, you're doing the sightseeing, but you can't take your dogs out all day long.
Yes.
or you're going to have a
Totally.
real short hunt, right?
Totally.
So maybe the first 2-3 hours in the morning, first 2-3 hours in the evening, now you have all this time in the middle of the day.
Right.
What are you doing on your out of state hunt that's this type of low pressure, just have fun and have a good experience? What are you doing in those midday hours?
Right. All right. Well, so this is the in camp podcast, right? So like we were essentially in camp. We had a awesome Airbnb cabin. Like we're making good food. Like we're playing poker. Uh, the fact that we were like right on the Badlands was awesome because I would kind of just like grab the shotgun, hope maybe I'd flush a sharp-tailed grouse or something, and I'd kind of just go. And I was seeing mule deer and just experiencing like those new areas. Like, yeah, it's like the Pennsylvania cabin experience, just in like a really cool, unique area. So we were treating it that way, and it was a really relaxing time too. Like it was chill. It was a nice break from work, from the daily grind. Yeah. So
Well, and you got
no
to,
difficulty filling time. That's for sure.
yeah, and you got to experience like seeing some of the sites that Teddy Roosevelt did get to see, and that's really important to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I like I said, I took a day off. I love like climbing mountains. That's one of my like passions for sure. I'd love to one day like be on the highest point in every state. So I found out I was like an hour or two away from the highest point in North Dakota. So yeah, I went down, I climbed that. It took me 15 minutes to get to the summit. Those, yeah, the guys that kind of gave me the tips about like where to look for pheasants, I told them I was on my way to climb the highest point in North Dakota. And they're like, what is that? Like a molehill? Like it was so, but it
Well,
was, yeah, it was beautiful. But yeah, like I got to see uh in Teddy Roosevelt National Park, which is the national park that I visited. I saw bison, mule deer. I saw prairie dogs. I saw coyote hunting prairie dogs. I mean, it was, yeah, totally incredible.
what do you think about? I think it's such a cool way to experience the thing, and I think it's okay to take a day off during a hunt like that.
Yeah,
Like I said, if you're deer hunting or you're elk hunting, you
right.
have a lot of time and money invested in that tag.
Totally.
A lot more planning. Like, of course, there's like planning involved with pheasant hunting and stuff, but like if you're on a backcountry elk hunt, there's all the different gear that you got to buy, and like making sure that you're physically fit to go up at the elevation that you want to hunt. And if you're using a drop camp, like how do the horses, or if you're not using a drop camp, can you find a service that can pack an animal out for you if you're going
Right.
deep in and you're solo and can't do it on your own, whatever that happens to be. And like you go hunting to Colorado, you're in almost $1,000 for a tag,
Totally.
like $750 for a tag, plus all the points that you had to buy to get it. Or if you're deer hunting in Iowa, you're in, $800-900 for a tag. Like there's a lot more invested in that. And if you go to North Dakota or South Dakota, whatever your license is, $150, $200, you go there, you get to have a great time. And if you don't take that day off, what's it going to get you?
Yeah.
Three more pheasants,
Right.
they're like,
Right.
but you got to see all that cool stuff.
Right.
And the dogs get to have a little bit of a break or whatever it is from the
Yeah.
super grind that they're on. But
Totally.
that is something that's really cool about upland hunting, is it's also an experience.
Yeah. Totally. Now
One that you're not going to get
let
here.
me ask you a question about that, because you did your Colorado elk hunt several years ago. Like, did you get burned out from hunting? Because you were literally just going all day, right? Like,
Yeah, we pretty much. Well, I mean, we would come back to the tent for lunch or whatever. My hunting partner is in his 60s, so he. Uh, Fortunately, I killed my elk on the first day.
I
So
remember.
yeah, so he, I kind of just let him, however he wanted to experience killing his animal was like
Yeah.
how we were going to do it. So I did all the calling and vocalizations, and kind of like we bounced ideas off of each other. Like, there's this herd bull that's been down in this bottom every day. And,
Mm,
maybe we can get in there at night if we drop down to that level first. Cause all the thermals are huge in big mountains like that, where you have
right.
the up and down. So that we would get on this herd bull every morning. He would be way down in this meadow, like 2,000 feet below, maybe 2,500 feet below our camp. But we were probably about 3/4 of a mile from where he was. So if we could drop down into that valley,
Yeah.
the problem is where our camp was so steep compared to where he was. So we
Right.
would have to wake up real early, drop way down this steep hill, and then start to climb back up this valley so our thermals wouldn't switch. But by the time we would always get to him, the thermals would switch and he'd piece out of that meadow in like 2 seconds.
Right.
So you knew he was like we would try to call to him here and there, but he knew he was being called to. He was a smart bull.
Right.
And one day when we were doing that, we happened to get on, we got in between bulls. So he had probably, I would imagine he probably had a big harem of cows around him down there. And
Yeah.
we got between these there were two bulls up above us. Now I didn't know they were only like raghorn bulls or whatever. Cause our other buddies saw them, but I got on this bull and I'm like bugling back and forth to this thing. And the only reason we couldn't see it was because the ridge dropped so hard that like there was just a little bit of a lip and he was right on the other side of that lip. So he was probably only 60 yards and it sounded like it was hurting my eardrums when he would bugle back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But there's just so much worth that experience too. But I'm not out there when you invest that, like we planned that hunt for 2 years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it took 24 hours to drive there and I had to take 2 weeks off to be able to do it. And
Right.
there's just so much more invested in that. And there is
Yeah.
a little bit of pressure to hunt and be successful. And it's not
Yeah.
that it's not fun. Like you just go in with that mindset, like I'm hunting the entire time.
You're there to
Like,
hunt. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I only got mildly burned out at some point because my eye was just like I couldn't see out of my left eye or my right eye almost all week.
Yeah. I remember you said that.
So that was like a little discouraging because it was really hard to walk in the dark like that
Oh my
because
gosh.
I was really off balance. But otherwise it was fun, like we were having a great time. And I like you kind of enjoy crappy food. So the
Yeah, that's part
dehydrated
of it.
meals to me, I was like,
Oh, they're the best.
I'm not disappointed by these dehydrated
Yeah.
meals. And
Oh,
everybody else
dude.
was like, I can't wait to eat pizza and stuff,
Sometimes I have to ask myself. So I love like doing backpacking trips and like really strenuous hikes. Like I said, I love climbing mountains. And sometimes I have to ask myself, like, do I love climbing mountains and like these awesome treks, or do I love the fact that it makes every bit of food taste so much better? Like when you're sweating your brains out and it's the end of the day and you're like bust open a pack of ramen and like pour a can of chicken into it and like put some hot sauce on it. I mean, it's phenomenal. There's nothing like it. Yeah, that's
I
all
don't think
part of it.
yeah. And we had talked about like grocery shopping before we went and like
Mhm.
making frozen things. And I'm like, we got to like 5 days out and I'm like, are we doing this or what? And they're like, no. And I'm like, then I'm buying I'm like, they're like, we'll get to it. If we're not doing it, man, I need a plan. So I just
Right.
like dehydrated meals is good with me. And I loved all of them. So
Yeah. Although the thing about the dehydrated meals is they always say like you get a package and then it says like one serving size, like two servings per package.
yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
eat like 2 or 3 of them. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely makes you feel bad about yourself and your eating habits.
Well, I got Peak Refuel
Okay.
meals and they're all like, most of them are about 1,200 calories.
Right.
And there were a few that I couldn't finish. Like I could I got halfway through them and I'm like, this is so dense. I can't eat the rest of
Oh,
it. Like
well,
it would be like pretty hard to eat all of it,
right, right. And like, how did you handle eating at altitude too? Because I know like my experiences at altitude, at least for the first few days, like I definitely lose my appetite. Did you experience that
There
too?
was, yeah, I didn't have my normal. I mean, you and I are, our wives can attest that we could probably eat a whole cow
We can
quite
put it
literally.
down for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I didn't have quite as good as an appetite, but I was taking the Diamox to try to acclimate.
Mm,
We were hunting at between 10 and 14, well, 10 and 12,000 feet the whole time, pretty
yeah.
much. And that's a pretty big difference for a flatlander, like,
Oh yeah.
but Diamox makes some certain things taste not very good.
Mm.
And then on top of it, like, when you get to altitude, like, well, I had like honey stinger waffles with me because I love those honey stinger things.
Yeah, they're good.
And when you get to the top, the package is like blown up from the pressure,
Right, right,
you
right.
know, and they
Uh-huh.
get stale and they're not good,
Ugh.
like, but I know I tried, the night before we were in the city and we went from 5,000 to 10,000 the next day. And, I tried having a beer with dinner and that Diamox makes beer taste not good at
Oh
all.
yeah.
Like
Ugh.
it's like completely skunked.
Yuck.
And, we're both not big drinkers. I like a beer every now and then. And like, it's a good time to celebrate that thing, but not with Diamox.
Yeah. Well, I remember. So you brought up Mount Rainier. We did Mount Rainier a few years ago. My wife and I and two friends, and it was a guided trip. And the one thing that they tell you is like when you're doing your summit push, like you want to bring snacks that are. It does not matter whatsoever, like how healthy these snacks are. They're like,
No, not at all.
bring fried chicken, bring Oreos, like anything that really appeals to you because at altitude, like you're not going to want to eat. You need to eat because you need to conserve your strength and stuff. But you're not going to want to eat at all at altitude. And one of the guides said like, he was like, "Is anybody like going to bring a beer for the summit?" And like, no one really said anything. He's like, "You can." He's like, "You totally can." He's like, "In all my time of guiding, he's like, I saw one person chug a beer on the summit. It was this woman who she just downed it." And he's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna have any appetite for beer up there." And sure enough, like I don't think I could have had one even if I wanted to. So,
It's one thing, like I said, I'm not a giant drinker, but it's something that is kind of fun to celebrate certain moments.
oh yeah, 100%.
We yeah, there's just something fun. It's like an old man drink. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just something nostalgic feeling,
yeah.
you know?
Well, yeah. If I could tell a quick story about that, so again, back to the in camp podcast. Like I had my first like Pennsylvania uh camp deer hunting experience this
Yeah.
season. I have some buddies that we always go to this cabin every summer and it's like your classic Pennsylvania cabin weekend. We hike, we shoot guns, we go boating and stuff, but like we always scout deer. Like every time we scout, and like this property has been scouted so hard, and we haven't really hunted it. So this year we're like, all right, we're finally gonna like get out. We're gonna like use the stands that we put up. Um, and it was such a cool experience. Like it had snowed a ton a couple days before, so there was snow all over the ground. Um, we got there, like you're talking, you're laughing, you're like in the morning, pitch black. Everybody heads to their stand. It was just a lot of fun. But the last day of rifle, we were like as far back in the property as we could go, and my friend shot a doe. Um, and I was like, "All right, sweet. We have like an hour to get this thing out. Like this, we have plenty of daylight. This is fine." So I'm like, "Hey," like I call him like, "Hey, you want to like go get this thing? You need help?" And he's like, no, like stay in your stand. It's like, you have a buck tag. You could probably get a buck. I'm like, dude, and it's snowing. It's snowing so hard right now. I can hardly see. I'm like, dude, it's a blizzard. Like, let's go get this thing. He made me stay in my stand. It was after like shooting hours, got down out of my stand. We went, we got the deer, had to drag it up a mountainside, like get it onto an ATV, like drive it miles back to the cabin. And then we like hung it up and like drank a couple beers while we quartered this deer in a blizzard. It was so much fun. It was awesome. Like you got to have a little discomfort and a little suffering to make those fun moments really fun.
Yeah.
So it
And
was
well,
awesome.
and you brought up something so cool because I did my first like real PA deer camp last year
Mm,
and I got to do it again this year. Uh, it's different than how we grew up because we had a camp type experience. Like we went to the farm and everybody had, soup and stuff at lunch or whatever,
yeah, it
but
was
it
great.
wasn't that like go stay away from home in a cabin in like the Northwoods type setting or whatever. And man, it is something fun about hanging those deer up on the pole and having a
Yeah,
couple brewskis or whatever and
yeah,
just
yeah.
like cutting them up and telling stories like we're telling now, like getting to recap like your first year, funny moments in the woods.
Right.
hard moments in the woods, whatever it was, it's always really, really fun.
Oh,
and, this year our camp didn't do nearly as well as we did last year.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
But it was fun even still to like all be kind of frustrated together.
Yeah, totally.
Because you go through that period where you're like, nobody's seeing any deer. What the heck's going on? And like,
yeah,
I mean, it makes it harder when you I ended up botching 2 shots on the morning before we left, and
you botched a shot. Wow,
yeah, 2.
that makes me feel better.
Well, I didn't hit the. Well, I might have. So I shot a doe. Well, I guess I was coming out of a clear cut, and I was on a ridge, right? And I got to the end of this ridge, and it was pretty open, like real open canopy hardwoods type stuff. And obviously there's snow there too.
Hmm.
And when I'm coming out onto this open area, all these deer are like filtering over the end of this ridge. And I'm like, holy crap. There was like 5, right? And they're maybe 250, 300 yards away. So I run like 50 yards. I knew, I was like, well, I'm not going to make that shot. So I ran and got closer, and I happened to be able to keep this big tree in front of me.
Yeah.
And I got up against the tree and I settled on a doe, and she's just standing, right? No problem. I pull the trigger and she does the like shoulder buck thing.
Right. You're like,
and
bingo.
rears up on her hind legs, runs 20 yards and does like one of those drunk deer circles and falls over. And I'm like, yes. And now after I shoot this deer, there's like deer everywhere. I don't know if they were bedded out in that open thing, but there was all these tire ruts from an old logging cut.
Yep.
And they're all like 2 feet deep. There's hundreds of them everywhere.
Right.
And these deer all like, there's like probably 30 deer running around on the edge of this ridge now. And they're like 5 are going this way, 2 are going this way, 4 are going that way. They're just deer everywhere. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to keep my eyes on her, make sure she doesn't get up. So I watch her for like 30 seconds, right? Nothing comes up, nothing stands up. And I could see other deer where I could still kind of keep an eye on her, right? And deer comes over here and I swing over 150 yards, boom, and I clean miss that one, right? They go running off, and now I'm still watching deer running all over the place.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I text my buddy and he's like, all right, well, I'm coming right over to you. I'm just on the other side of this. It was like a kind of like one ridge went to the left and one ridge went to the right kind of thing.
Right.
And he's like, all right, I'm coming over to you. So he, it takes him like half an hour to get over to me because it's pretty, he's probably a mile away or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, he's coming down from where I missed the second one. And I tell him exactly where I see the deer. He's like, well, I see the tracks here. There's no blood. And he followed the tracks for a while, didn't see any blood. So I definitely missed that one. So I walk out to the one that I killed, and I'm like, all right, she was right here. And I'm like, there's no deer here. Like, where's the deer? And I'm looking all around, can't find blood, can't find hair. There's deer tracks everywhere. So I can't pick a set of tracks to follow because there's just tracks all over the place. And now it's sunny. So all that snow and that open hardwoods and all these like bumps and all these tire ruts and stuff and all the humps that they left from pulling trees out, like it was a mess. So he and I ended up gridding just back and forth in like 10 yards apart, grading back and forth this way, grading back and forth this way over like 150 yard square. Couldn't find a thing.
Oh.
And I'm thinking like, I know I saw that deer fall. So did she fall in a tire rut upside down and I couldn't see her? I don't know, but it's kind of like a bummer when you hunt that hard all week. And then, camp has we had like 3 deer in camp that were killed.
Right.
And could have had like, 5, 6 deer in camp that should have been killed because everybody missed the deer that, we were taking really far shots and stuff. But
well, that goes back to, I mean, that's obviously like a smaller scale than your out west trip or my pheasant hunt trip out west. But there's got to be like, obviously we go out there to get meat to fill the freezer, but there has to be like a management of expectations because like you and I, we have our full-time jobs, right? And we hunt for meat, but we also hunt as a pastime. We hunt because we love it too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're coming home and you're so frustrated and miserable because you didn't have success or because things didn't go the way they should have gone, the way they wanted you to gone, the way you wanted them to go, and you allow that to kind of eat at you and ruin your week, well then
Yeah.
like the main benefit of that hunting and that fishing activity is not being like utilized, right? You're not getting out of
Yeah.
it what you need to get. So yeah, I know. I definitely had to learn that lesson the hard way this season. I mean, you know the story, but I missed a rather large buck um, during rifle season, and a friend of mine ended up getting it, which I was really happy for him. But like it ate at me for a few days, pretty hard, which I think is a normal response. But I had to come to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to let this like ruin the rest of my season and ruin my work week. Like I had a great time hunting. It's great stories. And like, I'm just going to focus on the positives. So,
It's okay to be frustrated while you're hunting.
yeah.
And it's part of what makes it fun. Like I said, being in camp with everybody and sharing that frustration is something that sharpens all of you. It makes you and all your friends that you're hunting with a little bit closer because you went
Mm,
through a struggle together. And then you
right.
came out and you have all these fun stories anyway. You
Right.
know, like, oh, you remember how Aaron went and missed all these shots, or
Right.
like,
Right. Right. Right.
everybody, but you get to share all that. And of course, missing a big buck is like, just, if you haven't hunted, or if you have, like, if you haven't hunted, you need to know it. And if you have hunted it, you already know it.
Oh,
Missing a big buck is like a
it
freaking
hurts.
dagger in the bottom of your foot.
Mm.
Like it is painful, like almost
It
physically
sucks.
painful,
It sucks.
especially one
Yeah.
that was like that deer that you missed this year was a different caliber. Like that was a big deer.
Yeah.
And when both of us have been there before, like I hit a 10 pointer a couple years ago that's bigger than any deer I've
Yeah.
seen yet on the hoof,
Yeah.
and like you still replay those moments in your head. But then at the same time, if you had that deer on your wall, you'd still play the moment in your head and it would be
Yeah.
different. But it's still a story that shapes you and your hunting, and how you develop as a hunter, and how you teach new hunters how to be okay with it.
Yeah. No doubt. And I feel like a lot of the stories that you hear in hunting, whether you're watching a hunting show or talking to somebody, people are more inclined to tell you the success stories rather than like those things happen. What we had just talked about, missing or making a bad shot, like those things happen to everybody. And people don't focus on them for obvious reasons. Maybe they shouldn't. They focus on the success stories. So it's easy to feel like, oh man, like it goes so well for everybody else except for me. Like, how did this happen? But like, no, it happens to everybody. It's part of hunting, and yeah, you can't let it destroy you. But like describing it as a painful experience is pretty accurate, because man, does it hurt. Like
Oh boy.
the things deer hunters dream about. We see giant 12-point bucks in our dreams when we close our eyes come November, and to like dream about that and to actually like get to see one and get a shot at one, and then to just totally whiff it is a horrendous experience. But
I have them
it's
tattooed on
worth
the back of my eyelid, so if I'm dreaming about
it.
something else, I can just,
I know. Oh, I know. Yeah,
uh,
dude. I don't know I like focus on the bad of the season, but it was a good season. Like I ended up getting 2 doe, which was awesome. And like I said, I still have some chances coming up in Flintlock here. But I feel like I can't shoot a deer anymore without like the deer running to the bottom of a ravine to die. Like every deer I drag out now, I have to drag that thing out of a ravine. Um, my arms have been sore for the last month. I
I
don't know. I don't know if it's like their final act of revenge on me or what, but it seems
I
like
think
I
it's just
doesn't
that
matter where I
spot.
shoot.
Every time I've sat where you sat and I kill a deer, it's always in the bottom.
Yeah,
Even where I sit. Like I remember that one year I killed that buck that's behind me here,
yeah,
and he was like 10 yards. I killed him right below my tree stand, 10 yards. Maybe
mm,
not even, maybe like 6 yards.
hmm,
And I made one shot, he drops over and I'm like, yes,
right,
and I'm like, he's dead. And I turn and I look out in the field and I watch some does run across the field. I turn back around and he makes one kick with his back legs and rolls
Oh
the whole way
no,
down
he
into that
just
creek
goes
bottom.
down.
And I'm like, ugh.
Uh,
And it's a pain to get a deer out of there because it's
oh
so
yeah,
thick.
yeah, that's
It's so
brutal.
thick in that little thing. But it's like, it was pretty cool. Lizzie was actually out hunting with Dad that year, and
Mm,
they were nervous. Everybody was kind of nervous about her getting in the tree stand because she was
right,
pregnant at the time,
right.
and she was wearing our grandfather's orange coat, and like she would like sit down on whatever stool she was, and the bottom of the coat touched the ground. So she was like, it was like I was in a little igloo.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Well, our
But
grandpa, I mean, he basically had a pregnant woman's body anyway. I mean,
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
he was a portly guy.
He was a jolly old soul, that's for sure.
I know. Did I ever tell you I tried on his Korean War uniform and it was like tight on me?
Yeah,
And I'm trying to like tighten this button and I'm just like, oh no. Oh no. So yeah, going back to eating habits, like maybe we gotta watch that.
yeah. He certainly liked his. I can't believe he wasn't diabetic.
Right. Yeah,
uh,
he taught me how to eat a saltine cracker with a little spread of margarine butter on it.
and
Just
salt,
oh yeah, and salt. Yeah.
extra salt. He used to give us those, like cut a sweet potato up and give us the and like just dump the salt
Hmm.
on those things. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you ever get to hunt with him?
So I think I don't want to like say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure I was with him on his last hunt. Um,
Mm,
Pap was like he was a small game hunter through and through. Like
yeah.
I've heard stories from deer hunting, and I think he was better at shooting a shotgun than he was a rifle.
Oh yeah.
Um, but he got permission to go rabbit hunting on this farm, and he and I went one day and took our beagle, and in in all fairness, I didn't shoot that well that day either. But I literally watched that dog take a rabbit past him. He shot twice at it. She brought that rabbit back past him again. He shot twice at it again.
He took me to that
But
farm too. That farm's pretty close to my house, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
We
was
should
awesome.
we should try to get permission to go there. He took me there one time too, hunting with Belle.
Yeah.
And Belle wasn't. It was the first year he got permission, so I don't remember if she was young or what. I think she was still a puppy
Mm,
and hadn't really had like a lot of exposure yet. But he wanted to go with her, so he took her. And mostly it was him going way out and trying to chase rabbits back to me. But that's
right.
where I shot
Right.
my first rabbit with him.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, you did
Yeah.
better than we did that day. There are a lot of
Well, he
shots
chased it
fired.
right. He chased it right to me, and it was sitting in front of me, like it was sitting
Oh,
still. So,
nice. Nice.
uh, I did get to experience some of Pappy though, like hunting with him. We did a bunch of small game hunting together, but I didn't deer hunt. I might have deer hunted with him once, but I remember my first deer experience with Pap was he and I used to love to butcher. So like anytime somebody would shoot something, we'd butcher it together.
Hmm.
And I remember Dad shot a deer with his bow in the evening, and it was like mid-October,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just getting dark, and Dad couldn't find the deer. So we were like, "Well, go. It's going to be like 35 degrees overnight." It was a pretty
Right.
cold October, so
Right.
deer would be fine. So we were like, "We'll go there. Pap and I'll get up and get there at first light, and we'll go find the deer." And I remember I'd never tracked a deer before, and Pappy found blood, and he's like, "All right, go ahead." And I just trailed this deer and found it tucked up under all these thorn bushes, just like, way up
Uh,
under there. And Pap and I gutted the deer, and he guts like Dad, like take, here's a kidney, here's a gallbladder, he
right.
takes it
Right.
all in pieces. And he was like, well, I'm not dragging this thing all the way out. We'll just drive all the way back to the field. And I was like, okay. So I just I tied a rope to the deer, and he started walking, and I started walking behind him. And, he couldn't hear very well. And
Yeah.
I was 30 yards behind him with this deer the entire way out.
Oh my gosh.
And he gets in the truck, starts the truck, and he was like, oh. And I'm like, deer's there. I think
Right.
could I hunt that year? I think I was just 12
Right.
that year. So I was pretty excited that we got that deer, and he's like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to butcher this. And
Oh yeah.
I think Pap and I got to butcher probably like, I don't know, 8 or 10 deer together before he died, but it was so fun to
Oh yeah.
learn that stuff from him.
He loved butchering. I think that's an often overlooked part of deer hunting is the butchering part. And like a lot of people take their deer to the butcher, and that's fine. Like I've definitely done it and do it depending on how much time I have after the hunt. I know you do all of yours, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
But it is
I have a good setup for it, you know?
yeah, right, which is important, like having a space to do it and the
Yeah.
time to do it. It is like time consuming. Some people have it down to a few hours, I'm sure. Some people take them all day to do. You're probably on the lower end of that spectrum. But yeah, it's really rewarding when you can do it yourself. And like I've been wanting to like get better about like knowing the different cuts of the meat, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
and you're I think better than that. Like what resource did you use to like figure out what cut was what? I know I just go on looks. I'm like, oh, this is a nice big piece of meat. Like that's going for a roast. This is going for steaks. This is burger.
So when I first learned how to butcher a deer, I learned from Pap. So we would just cut something out that looked like a steak and cut it into
Right,
steak shapes,
right, right. Yeah.
and mostly it was trimming all the tallow and stuff that was silver skin, stuff that wasn't going to be good, and then
Hmm.
cubing stuff up for burger, right? And then you kind of like, well, there's something different to this because a deer has all the same parts a cow does. How comes I'm not getting an eye round and bottom round steaks or a flat iron
Totally.
steak or whatever it is? So part of that um, was just finding the resources. So Realtree came out with these videos by a guy named Will Brantley. He's
Hmm.
an outdoor writer, makes some digital content, and uh, I learned some better ways to skin deer. And he basically like I learned how to quarter a deer without using a bone saw, and because Pat, we always would like cut the back legs off, cut the
Right,
shoulders, everything was
right.
a bone
Saw the
saw,
deer
and
all the way in half.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Never did that.
Yeah,
I stopped doing that. When I learned how to, like, pop the joints with my knife, it was like,
yeah.
forget bone saw, I don't need
Right,
one.
right.
And, that actually improves the quality of the taste of the meat because if you get bone shards in there or,
Yeah.
like, pieces of gut, like, that stuff tastes bad, like, it's not
Right,
good.
right.
So, there was that aspect of it, and then, um, I I don't know, I think I just, like, Googled pictures of, like, well, how do you get these cuts of meat out? And then Meat Eater end up having like a video of how to break a hind leg down on a
Yeah, I
deer.
saw that. Yeah, that was super helpful.
So then it's honestly like I still always get the bottom and the top round confused, but there's pieces that you can take out of that back leg that are so good. Like
All
and
right.
the eye round is it might as well be a tenderloin. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like it's a false tenderloin. A lot of
yeah,
people call it that because it's the same shape. It's a working muscle though, so it's got a little more oomph behind it. When you bite into it, it's
right.
just a good piece of meat, and that's a piece of meat like I save it for date night, because it's so good. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so good. Love
right,
that piece. But
right.
there's all these different pieces, especially when you go kill an elk. You want to know what you're cutting out of that elk because
Totally.
you end up being like, oh, that looks like burger, and you cut it up, you're missing something so good from that animal.
Right. Well,
And
again,
there's
like, and
nothing wrong with
also,
shooting a deer, grinding the whole thing either. But like,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't go wrong with burger. But yeah, I mean, back to the elk, like you said, you spend all that time and money planning the trip. Like you want to have every detail go as well as it possibly can, and the product of
mhm,
the meat is a big part of that. Do you like?
huge
There's a
part.
big, there's a big debate about silver skin with venison, right? And like how meticulous you are in trimming the fat and trimming the silver skin. Like how careful are you with that?
Um, I'm not always opposed to leaving some of it on, but then I have to know that I left it on that meat
Right.
to prep it before I cook it. Because
Right.
sometimes the silver skin can save a little bit of freezer burn. Like
Mm,
it's almost protective on that meat. So if you know that piece is going to be in the freezer for a year or whatever it happens to be, like maybe that's one that you want to leave a little bit of stuff on.
sure.
Um, when it comes to burger, I get as much of it as I can off or that's convenient, right?
Right.
Because when you put it through that grinder, the grinding blades and the die that you put it through should grind some of that off. And if it doesn't, and you're noticing a lot of chunks in your meat or something, you just grind it a second time,
Right.
and it'll remove a lot of that. I think one aspect to butchering that's really important though is keeping things cold.
Yes. Yep.
It's pretty obvious, like, but I'm fortunate to have a second fridge. If you
Mhm.
have the space for a second fridge, even a mini fridge,
Yeah.
it can save you a lot of wear on your mind. Like if you like, let's say you shoot 2 deer in a day,
Yeah.
it's gonna take you a while. Like that's gonna take, if you're fast at it, it's gonna take you maybe 4 or 5, 6 hours. If
Right.
you're slow at it, it's gonna take you 2 or 3 days, you know?
Right.
So I can quarter a deer when I get home. I love to pack a deer out and do the gutless method where
Right.
you're in the field and, and you can look, I'm not going to go through the whole thing on that, but there's some really good resources on YouTube and stuff on how to gutless method pack out a deer.
Mm.
It saves meat when you're dragging long distances because you're not like peeling the skin off by dragging it over all this stuff, and you're not getting
Yep.
dirt in the chest cavity or whatever. So you can get some real clean meat that way. And even though having a deer in your truck is kind of cool, if you can get better tasting meat, I want to do everything I can to take care of that after I shoot it.
Yeah.
So getting it out of the skin and all that stuff is really great when you're, a bow hunter that's way back in. But when I get home, I'm I'm pretty shot, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to take these quarters and I'm putting them in that fridge and I'll see them in 2 days. It
Right.
ain't going to hurt them,
Right. Right.
or if I get home, like this year, I didn't get to pack out any deer because they were all close to the truck
Right.
or on private land where I could drive right up and pick them up.
Right.
So I shot 2 deer on public and I shot 2 deer on private this year, and none of them, I didn't pack out any of them. They all got drugged
Nice.
because they were
Nice.
all, it was not that hard. And I have a 1/4 mile rule. If I'm further than a 1/4 mile, it gets packed.
Right.
And none of them met that criteria. So when I got home, put them on my gambrel, skin them out, quarter them, put them in a cooler, put them in the fridge. That
Yep.
fridge is probably my best butchering tool that I have
Right.
because it keeps meat so fresh. And then every time you have the opportunity to ask for a gift card for Christmas or something, like take like upgrade some of your stuff.
Yeah.
Um
Well, and also
uh
like you generally you can fit a deer in your fridge. Like you don't
oh
necessarily
yeah.
need like I've gotten good at just clearing out that bottom shelf of fridge and just stacking the quarters on that, and I'll deal with them the next day. Like
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
obviously if you get more than one day, then you might have to figure something
Maybe.
out. But
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this year, fortunately for us, like in rifle season, we don't get a lot of cold rifle seasons in this corner of Pennsylvania, but this year
right,
was exceptionally cold.
it was, yeah,
I don't think we had many days over freezing during
right,
rifle season.
right,
So it's kind of cool, but upgrading stuff like um sharper knives or a
dude. A sharp knife,
grinder.
like a sharp knife is important. The guy gentleman from New Zealand took me out. I was like, how did you just do that quickly? That was incredible. And he was like, obviously I've been doing it for a while. I know what I'm doing. I know the exact cuts to make, but he's like, you cannot like undervalue a sharp knife. Like having a
Yeah.
knife. Yeah.
And if you're
Especially when you're dealing without a saw and you've got to get through those joints and stuff.
yeah. And if you're not skilled at sharpening a knife, I will preach, like, use a changing blade
Yeah.
knife. It's so, like, don't cut yourself because they are freaking sharp. But like
Right.
for quartering a deer in the field, it's it's a fantastic piece of gear. And then like I use Havalon knives for butchering, and like instead of like digging on something forever,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's literally like slicing through butter when you're using those things when you're butchering. So
Nice.
I mean, if it's gonna save me, 30 minutes to an hour and a half on a deer, yeah, that's worth it.
Right.
Like you can get that stuff done and get all your stuff cleaned up. Like the last 2 deer I shot, I was done butchering and packing and grinding in less than 4 hours. So it's like, it's a big time saver.
Yeah. Takes me a little bit longer.
Well, and it's taken me longer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's one thing too, like give yourself grace in the beginning of the year too. Like my buck took me, uh, 5 hours by itself. You know what I mean? And then I had to grind the next day because I was like, spent. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
tired of it.
Right.
So yeah, like give yourself, and that's the same thing with everything when you get started in the season, whether it's climbing up in the tree or walking in the dark, you give yourself a little bit of grace to remember what you're doing.
Totally.
Um, this is one of the most fun podcasts I've had, dude.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a good time too. I
Uh,
know. Well, I think it's good because if you and I were together, it'd probably uh, we'd probably be fighting, right? Let's just be honest, like fist fighting, wrestling and stuff. So I think like having that screen between us is like bringing out our good sides, right?
you
The
do
gloves
still
aren't
think you
on.
can beat me up, so it's fine
I
though.
can, I can, and I will.
I'll, I'll let you think that it's fine. Um, what's something that you took from this year that you want to make changes on and bring some good things to your hunt next year?
Hmm. So I said something very stupid to a coworker before the season, and it was talking about rifle hunting. And just to be clear, I haven't archery hunted in many years. It's something that I think in college I kind of got out of it, and I haven't been able to get back in. I know that you're pushing for that, and maybe one day I will get back into it. But last few years I focused on rifle and flintlock. So I was talking to a coworker who doesn't hunt, and I was telling him about rifle hunting, and I said something along the lines of like rifle hunting is like painfully easy. Like it's like really hard to screw up, which compared to rifle or compared to archery, it is easy. Shooting a rifle is a lot easier than shooting a bow. Um, and obviously you can shoot farther and stuff, but things can still go wrong, and they do go wrong to a lot of people. And that happened with me this year, like missing that big buck. So like I definitely want to go into hunting with that mindset that like I can still screw this up. Like just because the deer is close and stuff, I'm always gonna like try and keep that in my head before I pull the trigger of like focus on your shot. Even if it seems like a gimme shot, like don't treat it that way. Treat it like you can still screw up. And that goes back to the ethics discussion that we had too. So definitely keeping that mindset, trying to get better about like really focusing before I pull that trigger. Um, and also like just remembering what I'm out there for, trying to not lose sight of I'm out here to have fun, to relax, to get meat. Like I I really, really enjoy the just sitting in the woods part. Um, I know there are a lot of people that like hunting, like deer hunting, but they get really bored by it. I
Mm-hmm.
and I used to be that way. I don't get bored hunting anymore. And I think it's just because we're so bombarded with screens and phones and like all of the aspects of our modern life that it is
The
so
trends,
like,
the trends.
yeah, the trends, like it's so countercultural to just like go sit in silence in the woods for hours on end. And it's almost like a detox too. Like I I try not to be on my phone when I'm hunting, but I still find myself like reaching for it.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to like combat those feelings too. I feel like I'm getting back to my roots as like an outdoorsman. So just like being able to have that silence, I'm really, really looking forward to getting out like for a few days in Flintlock next week and just kind of shutting down, like enjoying the stillness, enjoying the winter woods, and just having a good time and finding some peace. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not sure if that
It's
answers your
funny.
question, but
It does. And it's funny because Flintlock is like a Ben Hepler season. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like you, it's all back to the mountain men stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like you love all those little obscure things. Like you've always loved flintlock hunting. I hate hunting with flintlock.
yeah.
I
It's
like the time of
frustrating,
year.
man.
Yeah, it is. But you always have loved that stuff. Like
Yeah.
squirrel hunting is like your favorite thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Not so much anymore, but I used to. Yeah, the squirrels were the top targets back in the day. Um,
Yeah, especially when you learned how to use a frying pan.
oh yeah. Oh man, I could make some mean squirrel.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
haven't eaten.
carrots and
Yeah,
onions and
yeah, yeah. Did
pancakes.
did I tell you about the guy that gave me a squirrel while I was out pheasant hunting?
No.
Last year, I ran into this guy in the parking lot, and he had forgotten orange hat, so he asked if he could borrow one. Well, I had my like I had like my thick hunting jacket, my thick pheasant hunting jacket, and like a light orange jacket. And I was going to wear the light jacket because it was like upper 70s that day. It was really warm. But I gave him my my orange jacket. He like wrapped it around his head. You know, he was legal. He had it fully covering his head. And we went off hunting. We hunted a little bit together, and he asked about squirrels. You know, I said, yeah, I've eaten squirrel. I like it. Okay. So we parted ways, and I hear a shot. I'm like, oh, he must have got a pheasant. I come back to my car, and on my car door, there's an orange vest hanging, and then there's a skinned squirrel with like the paws still on it. Like the paws are still on it. I think the tail was still on it, and it's just draped over my car door. Like this guy thought he was giving me like some like royal gift by giving me this dead squirrel on an almost 80-degree.
It's got flies all over it. And
It was so gross. I'm like, yeah, I've eaten squirrel. I don't know if I'm gonna go out of my way to eat one, but thanks, I guess. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we're already in this an hour and a half, and it's been so fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, and we need to make sure we do it again for the listeners and for you and I, because I think it's really good to not only get to catch up and spend some good memories, but to have a good relationship together as brothers. So thanks for coming on.
Totally. Thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this. I think this is a great space to hear some good stories and to learn. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with us and your time in the woods. Yeah, it's a really awesome resource.
Oh, thanks again, Ben. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Well, that's a wrap in camp. Thanks again so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my brother, Ben. This has been so fun. Thank you for this year. Thank you so much for coming again and again to listen to this podcast. I hope you have had an awesome year, and I hope moving forward that you have a blessed year. If you could leave me a review and a rating wherever you listen, it helps the show reach more ears. It helps really get what I find really important, what I find important to get out about hunting and fishing, and what I find important to get out about Jesus. You can find me on Instagram at incamp_podcast. I have a personal Instagram. You can check that out if you feel the need to. And you can email me at incamppodcast@gmail.com if you have any topics you'd like to hear on this show. This is In Camp Podcast. So we talk about everything. We're talking about hunting. We're talking about fishing. We're talking about backpacking, whatever it happens to be. I want it to be here on In Camp Podcast, and I want you, the listener, to be able to hear something that you like. And I hope that you listen to all of them, because if it's something you didn't like, maybe it's something you will. So this is In Camp Podcast. Thanks again.